Well, tonight we're going to visit a very dark and forsaken place that I have not visited in several years. I'm a little bit scared of what we're going to find. This is what I like to call the whip graveyard. It's full of half-finished projects, a bunch of whips that are dry rotten, some whips from the 1940s, even a whip from 1903. It's kind of a museum of sad whips, if you will. There are literally whips in here that I have not seen for probably 5 years or more. So, let's open this thing up. Here we go. Oh yeah, already bringing back some crazy memories. I'm immediately hit with like this heavy aroma of leather. Look at this, I think that's a kangaroo hide. That's like some nasty. So what we're looking for tonight is a whip that I made late 2011, early 2012. I can't remember the exact date. There's a particular problem that we're going to be looking at in today's video, and this whip demonstrates it perfectly. So let's see if we can find it. Look at this. This is an old Buckheimer whip. This thing is, I think it was a 20-foot whip that I brought to Florida, and it was already so dry rotten that it just fell apart. But, oh, look at that. This is a 24 plat whip that I made a few years ago, and I let somebody borrow it, and they ruined it. That's sad. Yeah, all these, like, half-finished projects. I'm so bad about that. Look at that. This is a fire whip by Dark Monk. Have to light that up sometime. Unfinished snake whip. Bull whip with a concrete-filled handle. Ooh, that's scary. This is my latest bull whip. I'm going to show you guys how it cracks. I was very pleased with this whip, actually, although it really gives your forearm a workout. This is my third bull whip I made. Did I really make that? I did. Here's a Buckheimer whip. This thing's probably from the 1940s. There's the stamp, Buckheimer. Whoa, look at this. You guys remember that? I like to go very small on a micro scale, and that's what I've done here. It's a little 16 plat kangaroo hide whip. I think I called that a micro pocket whip in that video. Ooh! Osteobioflex, when I was having finger problems a few years back. This is a whip from my feral video a few years back. Man, I really shouldn't have these whips packed in here like this. Back when I used to use floor mat tape, those were some good days. Sometimes when I go through things like this, I don't get sad. Well, sometimes I do, but I don't know. It seems like things that happened 4 years ago didn't happen that long ago. And then I start to think about time, and it's just a bad situation. So this was the first quote-unquote stock whip that I ever made. It was actually a golf club handle that I just cut off and made a whip out of. This is a stock whip that I made with Andrea Fisher in Germany 2 years ago. Let's start with the others, 2 at the same time. That's hard, isn't it? I'm getting to the bottom of it. Here's some more half-finished kangaroo whips that I never finished. Oh, I started that one. Ugh, good thing I didn't finish that one. Disaster. Oh, man. Whoa. This is a bullwhip, swivel handle bullwhip from 1903. I kid you not. This was given to me by a guy who showed up at a whip meet in Indianapolis a few years ago. I bought a few whips from him and he threw this in as a little extra. It's not crackable, and it's been through hell, really, if you look at it. But it's really neat to have something handmade, particularly a whip, that's that old. Just incredible. 1903. You can barely see the date. Looks like July 7th, 1903. That is an old whip. I'm almost to the very bottom of this thing, and I may have found it. Is that it? A white whip. Yep, that's it. Oh my goodness. That's crazy. I have not seen this in years. And boy, is it uglier than I remember it being. Well, hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Nick Schrader and I'm a photographer, filmmaker, as well as a whip maker. And on this channel, I make a bunch of tutorials on how to make different types of whips. If that sounds like something you guys might be interested in the future, please do reach down and hit that subscribe button so that you can stay informed every time I upload a new video. Today we're going to be talking about a very common problem that a lot of whip makers deal with. And that is the problem of a heel knot slipping off of the foundation. It's very frustrating, especially when you take so much time to tie a knot, you can't believe you actually managed to do it, and then you look and oh, it's starting to slide off. It used to happen to me all the time and I didn't know why. So in this video, I'm gonna try to shed some light on it, tell you what I did to fix the problem and what you can do to make your heel knots stay attached to the foundations. Now this is a beautiful whip, not really, that I made in 2011, 2012. As I mentioned, I'm not sure the exact date that I made it, but it's a perfect instance of what we are discussing today. If you look at the heel knot here, this is a 3-pass 5x4 Turk's head knot. And look how it's sliding right off of the transition. Now there are 3 main causes for this to happen. And we're going to go through all 3 of them, but the number one most common is tying your knots too tightly. It's a very understandable misconception. It makes sense that the tighter you tie a knot, the less likely it is to slip off the end, right? That's the way so many other things work. The natural filling in of a Turk's head knot is ultimately what's going to be giving that knot strength and what's going to give that knot coverage around that heel knot foundation. In doing so, the edges of that heel knot will be able to flow around the sides, around the lip that goes all the way around here, all the way around that foundation. And that'll really hold things in place. With each additional pass that you introduce into your Turk's head knot, those previous passes are becoming tighter and tighter. During the knot tying process, every time you take your working strand, take that needle, go under a strand, over, under, over, every time you do so, those previous passes are tightening a little bit more, a little bit more, and a little bit more, very gradually every time you do this. And it can really sneak up on you. You can't look down and see it happening in front of your eyes because it's a slow process. Because of this, there needs to be a little bit of extra slack in those initial passes, particularly the first pass. In tying your first pass more loosely, what you're doing is you are compensating for that natural tightening that happens when the knot starts to become filled in. So tying your Turk's head heel knots more loosely will allow things to fill in without this sliding off. And it's going to feel a little bit weird at first. It's going to seem strange. It's not going to seem tight enough, but I guarantee if you work on more delicate tension in the initial passes of your Turk's head knots, you're going to be coming out with a much better looking knot, and a knot that's not, how many times can I say not? A knot that will not, it's hard. A knot that is less likely to slip off of that heel knot foundation. It's oftentimes really common to see this happen in for example, a 2-pass 7x6 Turk's head knot. You just finished it, you planned on it only being a 2-pass knot, and what do you have it? You look at your knot and there are gaps and there are spaces in it, and you go, well, what can I do? So you grab some 95 parachute cord or some whipmaker's cord, something that is a smaller diameter than the 2 passes you already have in place. You go through, it's starting to get so tight, you're shimming that little needle through, your fingers are killing you, and you, sure enough, took care of those spaces, but you look down and the little rim of the foundation is starting to become exposed because these strands here are getting so tight they have no place to go but up like that. And I could actually probably take this thing off. Look at that. Wow. So does that sound familiar? I know I did that countless times when I started making whips. The second most common cause for a heel knot slipping off of the foundation is the foundation itself. Perhaps you are using a material that's very slippery as your last layer on that foundation right before you tie the knot. So for example, electrical tape. I used electrical tape on this whip from back in the day, and paracord slides very easily on electrical tape. And if you already are having problems with your heel knot sliding off, then you should look for an alternate material such as hockey tape, which is a lot grippier. You can still use electrical tape, but that's only if you are not having any problems with your heel knot sliding off to begin with. It could also be that your heel knot foundation is too thin. For example, if we look at this whip right now, this diameter is a certain width, and then we get here, the foundation is just a tiny bit thicker, maybe 1/2 millimeter. So the end of that Turk's head knot doesn't really have much to grab onto. It helps if you don't use a material any thinner than 3 millimeters for your heel knot foundations, I've found. The third reason that your heel knots could be slipping off is because your foundation is either oddly shaped or the proportions are off. Maybe it's too long, maybe it's too fat. So to get around this, the general rule of thumb I like to use if I'm using 550 paracord or 650 paracord or whipmaker's cord with Turk's head knots, pineapple knots, what have you, is 1 inch tall by 1 inch wide. And I found that that pretty much covers a wide spectrum of knots tied in 550, 650, whipmaker's cord, etc. So with that being said, those are, in my opinion, the top 3 causes for a heel knot slipping off of the foundation. I have this 6-foot nylon snake whip, and I would love to work through a 7x6 Turk's head knot to just show you what to watch out for as you're tying the knot. The bites on the first pass of a knot can very slowly migrate up towards the top of the heel, and I want to show you ways to catch them and things to watch out for. So let's do it. All right, so I have about a 5.5-foot piece of 550 parachute cord gutted, loaded into my needle here. I'm going to take the end opposite the needle, and we're just going to start a 7x6 Turk's head knot. So we're going to start with a 5x4 and expand it into a 7x6. We're going to take this, put it 45 degrees. I've done this many times before. I'm paying close attention to how much pressure I'm putting on each one of these passes here. So we go over this one, under, just working my way through the knot. So this is a common place where you may pull too tightly. Watch these corners down here. You don't want to pull tight. If you pull tight, what's going to happen is this is going to end up here. So just lay it in place. Delicately place your thumb there and carry on the knot. We're going to go under. Just like that. We're going to go over this one. Over that one. Just delicately placing these strands. Now these strands are very loose. Over that one, under this one. And one of the key pointers to watch out for so that you know you're tying them on track and you're tying them loosely enough is to just be able to move them around freely with your fingers. See how I can just kind of mash things around and push this here, push that there. That's also important because I want to be able to even things out as I'm going. Under that, over that. So now we can begin the expansion into a 7x6. So we'll do that now. Over this one and under. And I'm still tying this very loosely. This is still considered the first pass because it's the expansion pass. Once we're done, this will be a 7x6 Turkey's head knot. Everything is very loose. And if things are not uniform, if things are not straight, that's okay, because we're tying it loosely enough to where we can still move everything around. We can rearrange stuff so much. That's what's so important. There we go. And then here's the final ascension. Right there. Opening this up here. Look at how easily I can just push things around. Hopefully this will give you a visual. I know you can't feel my fingers of how tightly I'm pulling this first pass, but hopefully just seeing the way they behave on the foundation will give you an idea of the correct tension to be pulling. So there's a 7x6 single pass Turkey's head knot. Look at how ugly it is. Isn't that terrible? That's the way it looks at first. But now comes the straightening out. And look at how easily I can just push these strands around. See that? And now see, I can pull a little bit of slack out of that. Still just moving things here, getting all those strands spaced out nicely. Moving that over there. Evening that out. At no point am I taking a strand and pulling anywhere near the tension that I pull strands while I'm plaiting. This is just still moving things around. And notice that none of these are getting pushed up. See that? They're all in place. You want to watch out for this happening. If you can see the foundation on the first pass, you need to back off a bit. You need to push things back. You might need to work more slack into the whole knot, you know, by taking this and then introducing a little more so that way you can move things around. Really watch out for that. Take your finger and just, if you can move stuff around, that's what you want. Moving it around more. There we go. I need a few more strands on this side. Just kind of working my way through this. So now, once things are really starting to be in place, my squares are a little more uniform now. What I can do is I can pick one pass here and pull it, and then I can work my way all the way around. So what I'm doing is I'm just pulling some of the slack out of this strand, working my way around like that. There's a little pull there, then flip it over and just follow it all the way around like this. There's one there, a little pull there, until eventually we'll get to the end. And we're letting the foundation dictate how tight we're pulling. If we pull too tightly, what we're going to see, things are going to go up. A little pull there, all the way around. I think this is the last one before we should be exiting the knot. And here we go. There we have it right there. So just even things out a little bit more like that. And that's all there is to it. You can see here, cannot see that foundation. And there we go. So you can still see things are still very malleable. I can push anything around at any time. So that's about the tension we want. And I think it's time that we can begin the second pass of the 7x6. And this is a follow the leader game. We're going to follow the strand. Everything it does, we're going to do on the right side. Now this is the second pass, and because everything is now in place, because we did all the hard work already, we can pull a little bit tighter, but still I'm not grabbing and pulling harshly whatsoever. Just finger tight, you know, like that. Whatever the strand on the left does, I do exactly what it does on the right side. And I'm going to go over that one, under this one. Over and under. It's a little bit difficult to tie this on camera, I have to admit, even with this overhead rig. Sorry if I'm out of the camera now and then, out of the view, out of frame. Over this. So just always remind yourself, even if you have to record a little memo on your phone that says every 30 seconds, nice and loose, you know, delicate, delicate. Remind yourself not to pull tightly. So right now it's already starting to get tighter. And it's not because I'm pulling harder necessarily, maybe a little bit more, but the knot is naturally filling in. And the more passes you do, the more unders and overs you do, those previous passes are locking into place. And I wish I knew this when I first started making whips and first started getting into knot tying. This is something I wish I knew. So I'm passing it on to you guys in hopes that it'll help you. I hope it does. A little twist there, we'll get that out. You see that? Still looking great. Under this one. Now, even as we are nearing the end of this knot, completion that is, here's a nice thing that I'm still able to do. I can take my two thumbs and see how this is a little high for me. I don't really want these strands to be covering the top that much, so I'm actually going to, look at this, just push everything down a little bit. I'm still able to do that because of the nature of a Turk's head knot. I still want to be able to move things pretty much until the last second, and it should take more tension as more passes become established. That's what we're looking for. We're just looking for that ability to move things around until the end. And it's all about that first pass, guys. Be very delicate on the first pass, and you will be golden. So see that? I'd like a little more room in between there. So I'm literally just going to push this over and push that one to the left a little bit. That's all there is to it. And if you have tiny gaps and spaces, after your knot is finished, a little roll will most likely eliminate them if they're not too bad. And I'm not talking about 1/4-inch gaps, but something subtle will roll out very often. There we go, just working that around with my two thumbs. Look at that, see that? Taking a look at the top, pushing things around. You tell the knot who's boss. Think of a knot as working clay almost. You're always able to push things around, make them go where you want to go. Don't let the knot control you. You are the knot tire. So you make these strands do what you want them to do. Like that. See that? I'm going to push these around a little bit, not too tight. Now things are really starting to tighten up. I can feel it when I push my needle in. And I've pretty much maintained the same pulling tension this entire time through the knot. So this is the second to the last pass. Keep getting these nasty little twists that are forming in the knot. If you guys want me to do a very detailed video on Turk's Head knots, please let me know in the in the comments section. There we go. Just push that around a little bit. And I know I am working my way fast through this. This isn't necessarily a knot tying instructional video. It's more so some tips on keeping the knot from sliding off of the foundation. Look at how tight this is. Now I'm having to really pull, but it's filled in nicely. See that? There's our last little space we're going through. Under there. And here's the last pass finishing up. And I almost, look at that, barely had enough cord there to complete it. There we go. It looks like for this last bit, I'm going to have to take the needle off and do one of these. Through there. Whoops. So I couldn't make that corner. I had to take my needle off, and I'm going to have to slide it back in for the end of this knot. And right through, just like that. That completes it. Let's do a quick inspection. That looks good. We cannot see the foundation. Let's take a look at the top before it's been rolled. And there it is, a completed 7x6 2-pass Turk's Head knot. We were conscious of our pulling, and the knot is uniform. At this point, we can give these a couple of pulls here, a pull there. I'm going to cut these strands and give them a little melt. Spray that one with my thumb a little bit. Press it in. So there is the completed knot. I'm just going to give this thing a little hand roll. Just press in the edges and we can examine the knot there. Always wanted to try this. See what happens. We can do this, guys. Oh, got a piece of it. Yes! I'm not even going to tell you guys how many attempts it took to do that. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you found it informative and I hope you found it helpful. I know it wasn't a in-depth tutorial on tying a knot, but more so some steps that you can take to keep your knot straight, to keep it on the foundation, and to keep it from slipping off. If you guys like these shorter videos, please do let me know. I'm trying to upload more frequently than once a month, so I'm trying to get on that and do better. So if you guys like it, please do subscribe, and many more videos to come. Thanks for watching. And cutting. Cutting. What did we learn from this, Nick? Outlines.